What's going on, guys? I'm bringing you all a commentary today, talking about my opinions on NCAA Football 13. The game's been out for a couple of weeks now. I've been playing it a lot, and I can give it more of a fair assessment now than I could in the initial stages of this game being out. And so, I've played all the different modes in the game now: Road to Glory, Dynasty, Online Dynasty, and Heisman Challenge. And so this is kind of just like a review of the game, I guess, 2 weeks after it's out, or just me stating basically what my favorite parts of the game are, or what needs to be improved. So I want to break this game down a little bit. First off, I want to look at the gameplay fixes and improvements. Of course, a lot of people were angry that there was not going to be the Infinity Engine this year, but NCAA had a shorter development cycle. They cannot put it in this year. It'll probably be in next year, but one of my favorite things about this game is what you just saw right there on the screen. This is a great catch. There's 430 plus new catch animations in the game. The read and react defense. For the most part, I really like the passing game this year. It's one of my favorite parts of this entire game. Watching the deep ball go downfield and watching the DBs actually look at the ball now and then make adjustments towards the trajectory of the ball where it's going to land, go up and make an interception, and the catch animations are fantastic. There's a wide variety. You don't see the same ones over and over again. You see some great ones that you just want to go back and watch replays of. And that's one of my favorite things of the game so far. But I do think the read and react defense needs to be fixed up a little bit. I know they have a patch coming out, I think pretty soon. I forget the actual details of it, but hopefully that fixes some of the gameplay things that have been annoying so far. Like sometimes when you're out running on the stretch plays, you have a toss outside, wide receivers will go like run backwards to block somebody behind you. Some of the blocking AI is messed up with those guys. And also, like when the quarterback's taking off, there's a lot of instances where players on defense will just freeze and watch a quarterback basically until he's past the line of scrimmage and past half of the defense already. And so that obviously has to be fixed up a little bit, but for the most part, read and react defense, I do like it, and I like the way it looks when I play the game. That's a big part of the game for me. Like, that's a major selling point for me, to have all these new catch animations and a new defensive AI system for the defensive backs. That's huge for me because I'm all about the sim style play. I'm all about the realistic, player interactions and just creating as real of an experience as I can in the videos that I do. So that's huge for me, and it's my favorite part of this entire game, I would have to say. Those little gameplay fixes there and the added catch animations, although read and react defense is not yet perfect. And overall, I've always thought that NCAA had very good gameplay, and it actually made me enjoy playing against a computer a lot because just the way the overall gameplay was, I thought was really solid. So I just want to see them continue to make strides to make the game more realistic, make interactions better than they are. Hopefully next up is like a whole new offensive line and defensive line system for blocking interactions and everything like that. I mean, read and react defense, I believe, is putting this game on the right track as far as the passing game is concerned, especially with all the passing that goes on now in the NFL and the NCAA. I want to see the games really focus on making that a very important focus of their development cycles and making sure it's accurately depicted in the video games. I think they did a great job this year, and I'm looking to see how it plays out in Madden. So the gameplay is overall pretty good, I guess, with some fixes here and there that are needed. And then looking at the actual modes is where it kind of falls off a little bit for me, because there's only one mode that I'm really crazy about right now, and that is Dynasty mode, but it is also probably the biggest and deepest mode in the game, so that's strong for NCAA right now. But Road to Glory is where a lot of issues are right now. I'm not sure if they've addressed this at all or said they're going to fix coach trust in the game, but right now, Road to Glory has some major issues. I already made a video talking about this. If you don't really know what's wrong, most of the players, or a lot of players I should say, not most, like to play on the harder difficulties like All-American or Heisman. And when you go into the game, you pick your Heisman skill level if you're going to play on Heisman, obviously. When you get to the NCAA, it can be very tough to climb up the depth chart. And that's not a bad thing. The difficulty should be there, especially if you're playing on Heisman difficulty. I mean, it's understandable if I have to get so many points and I can't become a starter until my sophomore year of college. But with the way it's designed right now, I think it's very poor. And if I could have designed the changes to Road to Glory and Coach Trust specifically, I would have done it way different. Basically this year, you get less points as a reward for a good play like a touchdown or a pass breakup, and you get a huge punishment if you give up a play in the passing game, or if you throw an interception with a quarterback or fumble the ball or have a tackle for a loss that's not even your fault. They have way too big of penalties. And I noticed this when I was playing with a strong safety on defense, one that was already in the game because I wasn't going to make a new character. I wanted to try out Coach Trust on my own to see where the issues actually were. And I had good man coverage one play, they gave me 7 points. I had bad zone coverage one play, they took away 80. So it takes over 12 good plays to make up for one bad play, assuming you don't make another bad play. And it's just ridiculous, and it's also unrealistic because I also tried it out with Monty Ball. This is in the video I made. I had one practice with him on Heisman difficulty. I kept having tackles for losses because no one could block on Heisman difficulty, and I ended up losing my starting job, and I was demoted to 3rd string with Monty Ball after one practice because Coach Trust is insane. It's poorly designed. I think it needs to be fixed. It has to be identified and fixed because it's not that hard. Just change the amount of points I get for breaking up the ball and don't make it so I end up going to the bench if I throw an incompletion or end up messing up somehow on defense. Or yeah, I want to play Road to Glory. I want to play the game, but I don't want to play Road to Glory until they fix Coach Trust. And I hope they do identify that problem because a lot of people are complaining about it, and I hope it does get resolved. And the workaround to that issue would be to start your Road to Glory on like varsity difficulty and then change it to Heisman or whatever gameplay you actually want to play on. Then Coach Trust is easier and you can actually go up the depth chart. And it's kind of too easy, but at least it gives you an opportunity to actually play the game, whereas if you play on Heisman difficulty, it's very hard to actually become a starter because you get penalized so much just for simple things and just mistakes. And practice in sports is where it's actually okay to mess up and learn from your mistakes. So don't penalize the players as much in the Road to Glory mode because that's unrealistic and it's not necessary. And now I have one more gripe with Road to Glory that's also a part of Heisman Challenge mode, and that is reaction time. Reaction time, it's overall not a horrible feature, but it's on my L2 button, which means that I can't strafe when I want to unless I feel like going into slow motion. When I play as a linebacker or a safety, I kind of want to strafe initially and see what the quarterback's going to do if they're going to run the ball. Then I'll make my adjustments. I don't want to go in slow motion for 7 seconds every single play. That's really annoying, and I think you should have the option to map the buttons to a different spot on the controller or have no reaction time so you can strafe, because right now I'm really turned away from a defensive Road to Glory series, partly because of Coach Trust and also because of reaction time, and then I'll have to put on like auto strafe, and I don't want to play with auto strafe. I've been playing these games for a long time. I want to be in full control of my players. I don't use auto sprint either. And so now I'm going to dig into Heisman Challenge mode a little bit. I wasn't really excited for it all that much. I mean, it's a decent mode. I like it. It's not bad at all, but it's just really not for me. I'm more into the dynasties and the franchise modes, that kind of thing. So it's not a bad mode. But also, I forgot to mention this before, one of my big gameplay gripes as well is user catching I just don't like it. I feel like I'm not even in control of my player when I do it. Like, I want to be in full control. If I hit the dive button like 2 seconds before I should going for a user catch, I should be penalized. I should dive, I should hit the ground, and I should be penalized somehow. But in the game, like when I hit square, when I hit triangle to do a catch animation, it just doesn't do it for me on its own. Like, the only thing I'm doing for the player is actually moving his body and moving him downfield or towards the ball, and the rest is kind of seems like it's done for you. I feel like I'm in less control. I want to be in more control because that's kind of why I want to use the receiver in the first place. I think you still actually get penalized when you mess up on defense because they actually jump when you want them to jump and dive when you want them to dive, but on offense it's just not that good, and it could be a lot better. And now I want to close this video by talking about my favorite mode in this game, which is Dynasty Mode, Online Dynasty Mode. And honestly, without Dynasty Mode in the game being as good as it is, I would give this game a much lower score if you wanted me to rate it. I think Dynasty Mode is phenomenal. There's customization to the conferences, and I moved UTSA into the Conference USA, change your schedule. I like being in control like that. Scouting and recruiting this year is phenomenal. You can actually find real ratings of the players you're scouting and figure out what actually you're going for. You can differentiate between 2 speed receivers and figure out which one you should actually be going for, which one has the better speed, route running, catching, agility, acceleration, etc. But sadly, Dynasty Mode and gameplay are the 2 main things I like, although there's things about the gameplay I don't like. There's not much else to keep my attention right now with Road to Glory having issues and Heisman Challenge not really being a mode for me. And so I still probably stand behind my score, giving NCAA a 7 out of 10. And I do think I'll be playing this game for the next year because of Dynasty Mode. And so anyways, guys, let me know what you thought about my thoughts and my opinions on NCAA Football 13. And feel free to leave your own in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit subscribe if you already haven't. And I'll see you guys next time.